Hello. Right, now as you've seen in our previous section we have this knee here. Okay, now we know this is our lower leg down here. Hang on, just try and grab the damn thing if I can. We know this is our lower leg here, yeah, in the same way that that needs to be linked in incidentally. In the same that we know that, you know, it has quite a freedom of movement to a degree, and that's because this is going to be operating our ankle unit, which is here. So let's just connect our ankle unit up now, and then with that we can operate, well, we can connect our toe unit pieces here, and then each of these individually will connect to these, not as a group. Got to be careful. Be careful what you're linking together. We're starting to get quite a hierarchy going on here. However, what this means is now that we have a much more controllable leg than we had before. So we can bring this up, angle it, and as you see we can kind of move our toes around and have all sorts of fun with this that we couldn't before. Now the pivot on that is off, and that one. We're going to have to fix those, so we'll do that soon. Incidentally, 3ds Max has this horrible habit, for whatever reason, with my 2010 version, of not always being 100% on the ball when it comes to the undos. So if things all screw up, then I'll just go back and redo it. Thankfully I'm using Max 9 for the other one. Right, so check my pivot points. Cool. Yeah, everything's sassy and fine. Alright then, now what I need to do is define the knee here. Now knees are simple, they're just a kind of single axis of rotation. However, knees also need to be incredibly strong. We've got to be really careful on how it is that we're going to define the actual knee joint that we're going to be using in this system, because all the pressures are going to be applied to the knee. So what we're going to do here is we're going to construct a big knee, okay, one that's nice and big and fat. So what I want to do is take this plate here, and I'd already indented this, and I've decided I don't want this kind of inset area here, so I'm going to grow it out, just delete it, and instead I'm going to cap out the middle like that, and that should give me a good area to start building a knee on. For this to work, I'm going to detach it as a clone, and this will become our knee. Right knee lower. There's quite a few parts to make. You can't just do it as one piece, as you've seen already. If I was to just quickly open up, I think it's my schematic view, you can see already that our leg has a lot of pieces controlling it. I mean, that's the right knee, and these are all the pieces underneath that. This is our right lower leg, and all the pieces underneath that. And we've got this spring and this right knee lower. The spring isn't technically connected to anything, although its constraints are binding it to that knee. Alright, so this part here, what I'm going to do is lift it up so I can see it slightly better, and I'm going to cut it straight down the middle for the moment. I can always take out this cut later on. It just helps me define where I'm working and what I'm working on. Now as we can see, got that cut wrong there, so I'm going to take it from here instead. And I can see that 3ds Max is wanting to make me work for my supper tonight. So I'm going to take it from there and from there. Okay, and now I'll take out this middle edge again. I don't really need it. Just use the backspace. Now, you have to ask yourself, is this going to be a strong enough knee? Now, this middle piece is, but what about these outside pieces? Well, we can make the knee look stronger by simply reinforcing the effect that we're going to give for it. So, our lower knee is basically going to be one enormous, great big, kind of semicircular hinge. We can give some idea of how it's going to work once we've built it. So I'm going to grab here and here, and I'm going to extrude it straight up for a bit. It needs to be extruded at least half the height that this would be if the hinge from edge was a complete circle. Now I'm going to take this off, take here, and I'm going to hinge from edge. Pick my hinge, and it's going to be 90 degrees, and let's say 8 sides. No, let's make it 180 degrees. No, 180 degrees. 8 sides, that's better. Delete the back face. Now, these aren't quite meeting up, so because I've got some sort of a strange extrude going on here. And I think I know why that's happened, but that's not important. What I'll do is target weld, and then we can fix this. Just check the inside of this model. Make sure there's no additional mess that we don't want. Ooh, look at that. No, no, no. That is a bad shape. Can't be having that. But thankfully we don't need these bottom pieces anyway. That would explain why this is slightly offset. Yeah, I'm not happy with that. Let's take it back. And delete this entire piece and start it again. It's better to be safe than sorry with 3ds Max, otherwise you'll end up with a bad shape and you'll have to go over all this junk again. Okay, just clone this up. Go into Object, on the lower. There we are. And just take this piece. And then we can just do our cuts. And straight across there to there. Now then, over here, as you can see, part of the issue is being caused by that. Let's just take out that edge there. We'll just do the weld, and hopefully that'll sort these out, because that's what's made these extra edges. I've still got cut turned on because I'm a doofus. It's the snow, I swear, it's distracting me. I don't know any better. I was young and foolish. There we go. Now a quick cut. There to there. Then I can take that piece and that piece and just extrude them up. Like so. Take away that piece there. Keep that one there and hinge from edge. Like I say, if you can go back, go back. It'll save you a lot of heartache. Okay, mash delete. Otherwise I'd have been sitting there trying to fix it and straighten edges for about half an hour and you'd have been like, why are you showing me this? Why didn't you just go back, Chris? You know. Okay, so this is going to be our knee. And looking at the shape there, that seems to be working okay for me. Now, we need strong looking parts on either side of this knee. So, we don't want the whole damn thing to be too wide, however. So, what I can do is just reduce this in width a little bit if I want to. Because, I mean, this is a hell of a big fat knee joint. So there, just make it a little bit narrower. It'll still fit inside there. Now, we just did a non-uniform scale on part of our model, so you know what we need to do? Quick reset X form. Simply because we're going to stick it in a rig, and if you do a non-uniform scale, do a reset X form, because you'll be crying and wishing that you had otherwise. Okay, now these parts here, I really like this shape, and I'd like to continue it going if I can. However, if I do continue this shape coming down with this, it's going to look quite weak on the knee. So we don't always have that luxury, sadly. What I'm going to do is build a cylinder. Just build it off on my auto grid and try and get it as central as I can. There we go. And just pull that out. Okay, convert to the editable polygon. The editable polygon. I'll bring this in. Alright. Now what I'm going to do is pull this across. And just bond them in together like that. And then if I attach the two together, I can now do a quick effect pivot only center to object, and it'll be exactly in the middle of these two. And now I've got enough stuff to start building the actual knee itself. Now at the moment it looks a bit like a simple android's head. Let's lower this down into position because it will work better if we actually have it in the right area. And what I need to do is just expand that outward like that. This is a much nicer shape. And I'm going to again reset X form. It's important. Convert it because it'll just apply it as a modifier. Pardon me. Sorry about that. Now, what I want to do over here is start making a shape using these pieces. You see, this is why you build it unposed. All the polygons are facing in the correct direction. It makes it a lot easier. So I'll do that. Now remember what I said, slightly curved surfaces, you know, do look a bit better. I'll bring that out to about there. Now, what I need to do here is just grab these parts, there and there, bring them forward a bit, and there and there. And the thing is, we can add shielding and cowling for the knee over on this part now, which will be helpful. And we can also make the shape slightly less uniform at the back by adding slightly more rear knee shape there and there, like that. So as you can see, it's not an even shape anymore. Okay, now over here, what I need to do is grab that, and that. Okay, and I'm going to extrude these by 0. Just bring these out. Oops. Bring these out to about there. And I'll just flatten those in a little bit like that. Okay, that works. Now, what I want to do here is delete these, like so. There is a reason. Just use the move tool for this one. And actually, rather than doing the second move there, I'll just use a quick bridge. There and there. Now we've got a couple of open polygons here, so if I just marquee select there and there, you just cap them straight off. And that basically defines that shape for us, and it'll make it work. Okay, now down here, I can then bridge there. And this basically will stop our knee moving too far forward, or it'll give the impression that our knee is to be stopped from moving too far forward. Let's bridge that. And what I'm going to do is just grab this edge here, Just bring it up a little bit like that. Okay, so it has got some freedom of movement, but not too much. Whereas at the back here, it's got tons of freedom of movement, yeah? Now on the top here, what I'm going to do is just extrude this up a little bit. And we need to start kind of bringing these pieces together a bit more, so I'm going to bring that up to there. And this is where we'll have a nice solid piece here. We've got to be careful. In case anyone sees this from the back, we don't want this basically wrecking our model. So if I take this piece out here, and bridge. Now if I grab this part here and just move it up a little bit, we've got enough movement inside there to support it, and we have this rather cunning knee. Now the knee is not very big. We don't need it to be big. There's no reason for it to be big on this. It's quite a stubby little leg that we're building, so bring that back to about there just to add the curve that we want. And this part inside here, if we add it directly to the top, it's not going to look as strong at render time. Whereas if we make it look like it's a part of the actual model, it will. So just got to be careful with this and use as sparingly as we can. Now we can see there's probably a couple of broken polygons there. See, just there. So rather than messing around with those, I am going to build directly on top. You can assimilate your model in any way that you think is going to work, but I'm not going to get that luxury by the looks of things. So I'm going to take this part here instead and just widen it a little bit. Just check and extrude. Make sure there's no broken edges on that. I'll do a bevel. Yeah, there you go, see. You can see where the problem is there. Okay, control select by, and I'm just going to do a weld and just try and get rid of any extra edges that I've got. It's not going to work. Okay, just try and pull this out. I suspect I've got an extra polygon in here that I shouldn't have somewhere. I'm going to have to find it. There, you see. I can fix that, however, so let's just fix that now. What I'm going to do is take this and this and delete them. Now it looks like I've got a polygon connected to it on the inside, so let's kill that as well. And if I do this carefully, I should be able to select this one and collapse. And this one and collapse. Okay, so now I've got this part here, which is going to come up to our knee. Before it can come up to our knee, however, because I want to clean up some of these polygons, I'm going to start welding some of these away. So let's just target weld some of these. Should be enough for the moment. And then bring this up. And like I say, this doesn't need to go up very far. That's about as far as we need our knee to go. Right, so this is our lower knee here. This is our upper knee. So lower knee, upper knee. Our knee, upper. There we go. And just to be on the safe side, I'm going to save as a workbench. Because I'm paranoid. Max makes you paranoid. And you have every right to be paranoid too. Right. Pardon me. I'm sorry if I'm deafening you with my disgusting coughing noises. It's not intentional. Okay, now in here, because we've lost a lot of detail, let's go into the cylinder mode. And I'm just going to pull one straight out from here. Not a very big cylinder, about that big should do. Because what I'm going to do is duplicate this on both sides once I've done it. Okay, maybe a little bit higher here. Because we need to, is this a negative amount? Yeah, it is. We need to basically give this the impression that it's held together using heavy-duty pins and things, yeah? So let's get this in the right position. Now, I know over here we've moved it out of position, so just going to work by eye a bit here. Okay, now I'm going to give it a bit of height. Like that. Convert to edible poly. Okay, and this will allow us to build basically a kind of a transaxle. So I'm going to bevel this. And in. I always like this shape. It's a very traditional kind of sci-fi shape that people use for, like, you know, robot hinges and stuff. It isn't sci-fi. It's first time I saw this was on was it again? I think it was a British Leyland truck. Now then, if we just go in like that, we can just come straight out like that and just create an end pin. There we go. We haven't even started drawing detail on it yet. That'll do. Okay, and again, just going to flip it over. I've got angle snap on. If I flip it over rather than mirror it, I don't have to worry about inverted normals. For the moment, anyway. There we go. And that creates this part of our knee, and we can attach those on. Like that. Okay. Now at the moment the pivot isn't really in the right place because the pivot's going to be at the top of this. But that's how that's going to be connected to there, and then this part's going to be, you know, connected onto here, etc, 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 etc. It'll all work out, don't worry. All I do really is I just connect this onto here, and then if we just push the entire lot forward, you'll see that's kind of how the knee sets up. Okay? And I'm glad we were able to have this little talk. I'll just move this back into the right position again so that it's facing straight upwards. Okay, so we've got this more or less built. What I need to do now is build a circular upper hip area for this to connect to, because even though this is technically the right knee upper, it's actually the hip. This is the knee. These are just names that we're giving it as we go along. Isn't this fun? Are you having fun? Gosh, yes. So first of all, let's get this sorted out, and what I'm going to do is a little bit of target welding. There. Now what I'm going to do is delete this edge here, here, and here. You notice I did a control backspace. Well, you wouldn't because I don't have my hotkey tool turned on. If you had noticed, I did a control backspace. The reason I did that was because it gets rid of the verts as well. Tremendously useful. Okay, select there and there, and a quick connect, which will do it exactly in the middle, and then down to a cut. If you can't work out what we're doing, you probably haven't watched the rest of this set, and we're looking out of the window. The temptation for me just to play this video tomorrow, which is Wednesday, and you know, just move my hands over the keyboard whilst actually having a nap's quite high. Although I will get students saying things like, why did I do it that way? If your polygon, by the way, just does this weird bawdry thing, just hit F2. Used to drive me mad before I knew what that was. Hinge from edge. Big hinge. That one. 180. 8 segs. Mash delete. Marquee select and weld. There we go. And that is the completion of the upper knee segment, which will be turned into an upper hip segment in just a few moments. So until that happy time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next bit.